welcome to another edition of the Evening Review here at Namibian Sun. My name is Taiwanja Bella, your host for the night. Tonight we are joined on the couch by the Secretary of the SWAPO Party Youth League, Ephraim Nekongo, who is going to engage us actively on a number of issues. Stay tuned. I'm back. I am honored to be joined on the couch today by the Secretary of the SWAPO Party Youth League, Ephraim Nekongo, for a brief chat. Thank you, sir, for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
and I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you also to the viewers.
Thank you very much. First things first, let me get a bit hypothetical. So if for any reason you were no longer Youth League Secretary today, you are going abroad for studies, or you simply say, look, I'm going to farm. I know that you are a very serious farmer. What would your legacy be as a Secretary of the Youth League, in other words, between 2017, when you became Secretary, and today? What are some of the highlights of your tenure so far?
Well, thank you very much. That could be one. It's ready to unite the Youth League, especially the leadership of the Youth League. I think many people will not see this, but I must say now, 2 years down the line, the Youth League is still intact. There are no infight in their meetings compared to where we have come from. I have been a member of Central Committee of SWAPO Youth League for some time, and what I have observed from there is that you come to a central committee, but your mission is to suspend somebody. I think I'm very happy to say that in my tenure so far, there have not been a talk of suspension of somebody. But yes, we differ on issues. Sometimes we had those tough meetings. But thanks God, up to now, we are still intact as members of Central Committee of SWAPO Youth League, as regional secretaries of the Youth League. And yes, we are really busy in terms of educating our members. And we are also sometimes absorbing the insult and everything. And if you really focus and really followed me, despite many people that have insulted me or they have their own view, I always feel it's their view, but you never see me, even on the newspaper, hitting back to say, yeah, you did also this and blah, blah, blah. It's not my culture. So if you want to take it up from me, that is, I can call it a legacy. But yes, I have been firm in advocating for issues that are affecting our young people, be it on issue of unemployment. And I have had engagement with leaders, be it the president of this country, be it ministers, to look at the issues that our young people have. In fact, our approach is different. And perhaps that is what is not liked by many, because they feel you are not revolutionary, you are not firebrand or whatever, because leadership ought to be different. You have your way of tackling things, because for me, I strongly believe that if we have issues to solve in this country, be it the president, be it minister, I think the issue is really to come on the table. And at that table it can be hot. We can even bang the table, but when we leave the table, we agreed on issues and said, from here, let's do A, B, C, D. So I think that's what I will say for now.
Okay. And I know that people talk, you spoke about insults, and I observe those regularly about the kind of criticism and insults that you get subjected to. You are called, for example, Harambe Choir,
a zombie, the names are Mayulu, whatever. They have all those sort of names. But many people are in the group and they will call you and say, "But why? What is the magic?" Look, perhaps the way you were brought up is to respect people. You can respect their view, whether it's insultive. You can just say, okay, fine. It doesn't take anything out of me, but it doesn't also derail me to focus on what I need to do.
Definitely. So the fact that it's very good to hear that there hasn't been any suspensions, because I know exactly what you're talking about, what happened in the past. But could it be that then how do you dispel the notion that the reason why there are no such suspension is because you guys are just, you do not differ, you do not, there's simply no life in the youth league. What do you say to those kind of?
Well, that cannot be true.
Yeah.
We differ, be it in the national executive, we can differ, be it in a central committee, we can differ. But what bound us together is that unity that we are fighting, because we need to know and understand that the organization is not an individual. An organization is bigger than all of us. Nekongo can go tomorrow and then the organization still exists.
Yes.
So I think that's what bounded us together. Yes, it's because people will not see what we do because we don't do it on the camera. We don't do it on Facebook. We don't do it. If I tell you what was my program today, you'll be surprised. But it's to engage people, and you see result. But sometimes we don't even want to be associated with those results, while others would want to be on the camera. If you even meet the president, it will be on social media because you want to be seen that you are doing something. To us, it's a different thing. You have young people that are doing brilliant. Not only talk about the governor that we have given, for example, Comrade Chair. He's doing great there. But many times, it's a rural area, sometimes you don't see those. Yes. But the life goes on for the people. We do this, be it in education. We have been advocating on issues of education, student funding, but you never see us and say, yeah, now Nekongo is there. He was with the president today, or he was with the minister today, or he was, Yes. We always have a different approach. And we have written many letters to people, but we don't communicate this letter, and then maybe that's our difference. If, for example, there is people who wanted to demolish houses in Oshuarongo, we didn't say it to anybody, but we wrote a letter to the leadership and said, this cannot be done because we have a resolution to say, before you demolish people's houses, come to conclusion, talk to people, really, 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 that, you go to that extent, really, that you have exhausted all the avenues. So in Katima, we are still busy in negotiations. These are things that we don't do on the cameras or in the social media, but it doesn't mean that we are not there. We are there with the people. Whether they are through all this poverty that we are going through, unemployment, we have all engaged and said this maybe might be solution. And it's good that you practically put it that, look, I'm a fan, not a fan, but I'm an advocacy of agriculture as a sector that can create employment in this country. So I will, from time to time, you will even see me at the Ministry of Agriculture if I don't see movement, especially now that we are talking about Agri-BizDev, talk about AMTA. We really want to make sure that this entity which was created must function as the purpose that was they were created. So we are out there. It's not true. These are just notions that is created by people. But I must also say, why these things are coming is because I think first of all is that we tend to hate each other before we don't even know each other. You just told that, no, Nekongo is a zombie, is Mayulu, is whatever the case might be. You don't know this person, and then you tend to hate him. But the reality is that if, in fact, I always said, if we have weaknesses, as young people, the first point of departure is really for us to unite, genuinely, if we want to move this country, be it at the party level, be it society. We need really to unite because our problems, it doesn't mean that when Nekongo has supported the president, the challenge of unemployment is forgotten by Nekongo. It cannot be true. So we just genuinely need to unite and then focus on issues that are affecting us. And then say Nekongo's weakness, Nekongo also had his strength. This one got his strength. If we put all the strength together, then that means that we can move. Indeed. And we can able to develop this country amidst our differences. Exactly. Let our differences not sabotage the development of ourselves and the country.
Definitely. Now, the one time that I saw the Youth League coming out strongly and sort of really pronouncing itself strongly on a matter was there was a statement that was issued by the League, I think on the 16th of November last year, in which the League called for the party to not allow people with convictions to go to Parliament. There were a lot of other issues there, but that is the one thing that stood out for me. What was the principle of that pronouncement?
The principle is very simple. The party, and I think people are generalizing it now, the party is strongly advocating a zero tolerance of corruption.
Yes.
And what we said was to the party to say, look, if we are to be honest to ourselves with this issue of zero tolerance of corruption, let the comrade honestly, if you know that you are dirty,
yes,
and we don't want to dirtify the party, please step aside. And it's a good thing to do, because we cannot be correct that we are advocating for zero corruption, but yet we have comrades that are corrupt. And I will say it even here openly to say, even if now, today as we speak, there are comrades, be it minister, be it deputy minister, be member of parliament, be it whatever, and you know that I'm corrupt, I think for us to do justice is to say, look, I'm sorry, even if this is an offer given to me, I don't want to embarrass the party. Look, let me step aside. Let me go and clean myself, so that then I come back maybe as a person who is free from corruption. And I think that is what probably will save the party.
Definitely.
It cannot be correct that we can defend the corruption in the party at all. And the party is very frank and very straightforward. I see this question coming at our recent press conference, and I see now people talking and say, yeah, Nekongo has said no, this issue. What we have said there, just to correct it, is to say, look, we have called this press conference, and the aims and objective of the press conference was really to talk about the unity of the party. But we can't bring this issue of corruption. But perhaps now, since I have an opportunity, the president of this country, and I see many people really blaming and greasing the president on this issue of the fish rot and so forth. I think the president has been vocal on it and said zero tolerance to corruption. And I don't think the president is associated with this issue of fish rot as people are putting it. And I see it coming, and maybe I must say it to them now to say, the president of this country, as per the experience that I have, is not involved in this issue of corruption that people are trying to blame. I know, yes, there are political surrounding it. Well, to say, yeah, because first we failed to get him through elections. Now we must only just bring all this propaganda to people so that people see that the president is also associated with corruption. That cannot be true. The president is not corrupt. I'm saying it here.
Okay. And so just in your observation, I'm getting this question. It's not prepared, but I'm thinking of it now. To what do you attribute the loss of votes by the party in the just ended elections? Is it do you think fish rot has something to do with it? Do you think it's performance of government? What are your observations?
Fish rot is something that just came at the last minute. I don't think as much people talk about it, yet it contributes. Maybe it contributes little, but I think the issue here is service delivery. And we need to be honest to ourselves. If you are a minister, if you are a councillor, you are a cadre in a party, you are executive director, you are officials who goes to work every day to work for the people. The reason why we got not what we deserve is because these people are failing where they are failing. And we need to be honest to each other for us not to, perfect it when it's not perfect. People are unemployed. It's true. So we need to find a way. How do we make sure that we bring in private sector to create employment? However, now the problem that I see with us, when government do this, you go and look for investor, it become a problem. When government go and borrow money to, for example, to, create opportunity for our people, government, please, sometime we must allow government to do what it ought to do to create this opportunity. But it's true, our people are frustrated because of unemployment. It's true, our people do not have potable water. Our people do not have sanitation in some areas. Yes, the fish issue, maybe fish rot issue came in to say, yes, we have fishermen that were retrenched because of this thing. And perhaps I must say it's because perhaps we were not, we didn't know what was happening. For example, if you look at me, I will say this issue we just thought, well, these people were retrenched because they had illegal strike and so forth, but perhaps we didn't know what is behind the coin. So now that you know, I think it's the issue now that we need to address. And I see people politicizing it, but SWAPO government has ensured that the acting minister must deal with this issue. Whether other people are trying to buy faces with it and say maybe they want to convince people that it's because of them that the issue is being dealt with, that cannot be true. But the SWAPO party-led government, through the acting minister or whoever minister who is going to be appointed very soon, must able really to deal with this issue of the fishermen. Let the fishermen go back to work and then feed their family. Yes, there are other talks like, some have lost lives, some have children, you know. When we find ourselves in this issue, let's always not sometimes look back, but look at the way forward. I always want to look at the way forward. What is that we are going to do from here so that then our people are back to work and the fish that we have in the sea now because of this fish rot issue, the fish must now be regulated to make sure that it benefits the people that are unemployed. Perhaps the different modality need to look at. But also, I must also say it here because sometimes people just talk about here. Those that have got fishing quota since independence, we must also introspect ourselves. This issue of giving blanket and whatever, and maybe a corrugated sheet of somebody, this also cannot also be called for. We must also, because imagine you got this for free. You never paid anything, but you are getting 50 million every year. But all what you do, you take 100,000, you go and buy mattresses and blanket, and people must see, oh, these people are doing something. I think we must also introspect this and say, what will also happen to these people? Instead of them buying Mercedes-Benz, can we also blame them and say they have failed because they were supposed to get these resources, go back and invest it, even so that we don't import eggs. Exactly. What are they doing? Are they only buying Mercedes-Benz? So when we talk about this fish rot, it must not only be seen as fish rot, the 150 million, but we must also talk about millions that got in this country that cannot also be traced. Where is it? What impact have they made? Blanket does not make impact. We need to seriously and say, look, if you have fishing quota since independence, we must really critical look at you and say, what factory have we created? Are the Masbanger fish now available in the north and value is added there, or is still the value added in Spain? We need to introspect ourselves, and I think that's the reason why the president is saying this is the year of introspection. Definitely. This issue of just one person blamed is just the president. Everything now is just the president. We must also introspect ourselves. Fish quota has been given since 1990. It was not only in this era. We must now think about what happened and correct it too, so that this fish also benefit our people at the end of the day.
Definitely. The last two questions, Mr. Nekonga. The first one is, you are in Parliament. As a matter of fact, you are making your debut in Parliament today. But you are on, as things stand, it's only between now and next month, because you are just serving to complete the last term of this current Parliament. When you look at the SWAPO list of MPs that for the new incoming Parliament, there isn't really a lot of young people there. What is the issue there? Is it a question of youth not participating in the processes that need to take place for you to go to Parliament? Is it a question of young people saying, oh, the elders are in charge, we must step back and allow them to be in Parliament? What is the issue? Why are we not having so many people there?
First of all, you need to understand the dynamic of those processes. And it's true. We as young people are to be blamed, including myself, because when they are meeting at the village, you feel, this is just the elders speak things. But when the village elected the secretary, and who is the old person, then we must come and say, no. We are not being taken seriously. How do you will be taken seriously when you don't participate? Now, at the SWAPO level, you need to have membership. Paid up membership, all those things which are known. I think I want to start with this process. When Ondangwa had the by-election, Ondangwa Eben, when they had the by-elections, people were complaining and said, but young people are not taken seriously. I went back, and had a meeting with our fellow comrade and said, okay, let's introspect ourselves. What went wrong? And then, what was the nomination? No, the secretary was nominated, the district secretary was nominated. But come to the election processes, the comrade did not make it. Who will be blamed for this? Is it young people? Is it elders? Is it because we are not in the structure?
Yes.
Because if we were at the section, definitely we will support this secretary.
Yes.
And if we were also at the branch, we will support this comrade. Then if we were definitely at the district, we will support this comrade. Now, since we have failed there, we must also not blame others, but we must blame ourselves. We must take that blame ourselves. So for me, the issue of now coming to the Electoral College now, which is a body that sent young people there, young people participated, and I must applaud them countrywide. They came in big numbers, but the dynamic of our own structure allowed, because you have more members of Central Committee there, and who have also members of Parliament that are there. So you are likely to see new blood not to coming in, because these people they are in majority,
yes,
and they have interest. How do you balance that?
Yes.
You can blame me for it, I take the blame, but honestly speaking, it's the dynamic that we have. And that's why we felt as a youth league to say, if maybe we want to think about this, it's really for us to, first of all, we must participate fully in the structure. But the second thing is really to think about the quota of young people,
yes,
but not maybe because it's not sustainable, not just because of to close this gap that is there now. Because at the moment we have more young elders in Parliament, and we have more elders in the Central Committee, and that is the body that decide. So for now, the only thing that you will think is to say, let us have a quota, even whatever you can give, so that at least you have new blood injection. But I think it's also good for the elders also to understand that, look, we are not up in arm. We don't want to get rid of them, but it's also for us to let the pipe flow. You can't block the pipe. And I'm happy the president said it very well, to say, colleagues, sometime when we are at this level, we must consider retiring, so that, because now the pipe is blocked.
Yes.
And we cannot be blamed because the pipe is blocked at the end. Now we are trying to scramble, but we can't get through because somebody blocked the pipe.
Yes.
So that and we are also not saying let them go. We need them also to, to groom young people. Yes. There must be a process the way we groom young people, but we must also not just say, I must just come under the trees and I must go to Parliament. You must also be groomed to understand, otherwise I will not do anything at Parliament. Yeah.
Definitely. The last question, Mr. Nkongo, is there is this regional and local authority elections scheduled for this year, and there is also, it coincides with this new wave of independent candidates being advocated for, and we understand that there might be an independent candidate in every region, and it's mostly young people. What kind of engagement are you having with the party itself to say that the youth in SWAPO must also be considered as candidates for this kind of positions, or are we going to see another situation where it is so difficult that the process itself, the dynamics like you mentioned them, are still making it difficult for young people in SWAPO to become candidates? Well,
I think it's good that this program is also happening, so that I also talk to my senior to say, well, politics has changed, the dynamic has changed. I think we need to consider otherwise young people that have been groomed. I'm emphasizing young people that have been groomed. Because we can also gamble, we can also not gamble with people's life. Just to put somebody there because he's an advocate, or he's an activist or whatever. We must also talk and bring people with caliber to lead people. So on this one, we are very busy engaging in the structure, and that's why we have heard that we have a postmortem that we are thinking of, and perhaps these are things that we can also introspect ourselves. What I will tell young people is just that, yes, it's true. As leaders of SWAPO, Youth League, as leaders of this country, we have heard you. I'm just coining what the president said. On unemployment, it's true. We heard you very loudly. Issue of student funding, we heard you very well. On the issue of housing, we heard you. And many other issues that you have brought forth. Anything, even the one that you are going to complain now here after this show, we heard them. But now it's up to us as leaders to sit around it and really provide solution to all these challenges. We also say, give us time, give us these opportunities. For us, yes, you can say, yes, you had that opportunity for 30 years, but we are once again just said, look, give us an opportunity. so that we prove ourselves to you within the mandate that you have given us for the next 5 years. But for local authority, also trust us, because we are going to give you capable leaders that are going to solve your problems that you are facing at your local authority, be it at your constituency. We are going to able to sit around. And we are saying this proudly because we are an institution that has come a long way. We are an institution that can able really to solve the problem. In this country, we can talk about others maybe that want to try, but we will say it proudly that we will able to deal with it because we have a vast experience in dealing with it. And also, to be honest, we must also not be blindfolded to say SWAPO government did nothing. SWAPO did a lot. Achievement that we have achieved. Yes, sometimes you don't want to focus on it, but I must be proudly to say Namibia of 2020 and Namibia of 1990 are two different miles apart. We have done our part where we have. Yes, we have where we have failed, we will try to perfect it. But honestly is that we have done a lot and we'll continue to do a lot. So I will just humbly ask my young people to say, first of all, we need to genuinely unite. Let's not hate each other because somebody said, I must hate you. But let's put our strength together also within the party of SWAPO and say, let's challenge ourselves, let's introspect ourselves, so that at the end of the day, we move this country. This challenge can be addressed like this and like this. All of us, genuinely. Let's talk about, let's put our differences aside.
Mr. Nekongo, thank you very much, sir, for coming.
Thank you very much.
This was a very rich conversation I had with Ephraim Nekongo, the secretary of the SWAPO Party Youth League, just filling us in on a number of issues regarding the league. We end it here. See you tomorrow.